It's fair to say that XYZ was genuinely one of, if not the best Pokemon animated series of all time, from the spectacular animation as well as the amazing development in all of the characters, and of course we can't forget about Ash Ninja. I mean, come on. It seemed like you couldn't get any better than this, which made people excited for the future of the Pokemon series. But what fans didn't know is that the statement "you couldn't get better than this" was going to be taken literally. My name is Pokey, and throughout this video I'm going to list off the most prominent reasons as to why Sun and Moon was not only heavily disliked, but also a clear example of so much potential wasted in an instant. Also, do me a favor and subscribe. If you do it, my dog will get a new toy. Plus it's free, so why not? Now, to really come to understand the amount of hate Sun and Moon received during its official debut, we have to come to terms with one key factor, with that being expectations. You see, one thing that Pokemon Sun and Moon was already suffering from was the expectations of the people. XYZ was already something we have never witnessed before, so fans were definitely excited but also worried that they wouldn't be able to top XYZ, and sadly it was those expectations that killed Sun and Moon. It was November 17, 2016 when the first episode of Sun and Moon was released, and usually you wouldn't think fans would judge a book by its cover purely because of the first episode, right? Well, just from the very first episode, fans took Sun and Moon and ripped it apart limb from limb. I'm not kidding, you should have seen it back in 2016, it was bad. But now comes the question, why? Well, for starters, part of it was the art style. Fans immediately saw the difference in animation from XYZ and Sun and Moon. It was very apparent. Sun and Moon gave this cutesy, vibrant animation compared to XYZ's simplistic art style. Now, be honest, XYZ didn't have a spectacular art style, but part of its charm was actually the simplistic art style choice. Because XYZ's art style was so simplistic, it compensated that with its amazing and fluid animation, not to mention the increase of animation would be visible throughout the entirety of the anime. Even from the more medium moments such as Talonflame's evolution, the animation still felt very well done and made you even a little impressed that you were still watching a Pokemon anime. But in Sun and Moon, it was clear that the animation definitely fell. Even in the grand trial fights and some of the more pivotal moments in the series, it felt almost underwhelming. But maybe they were saving their budget for the Pokemon League, right? Maybe they were going to pour all their animation for all of the battles to look even better than how they did in XYZ. Wrong. Just wrong. Almost all of the battles had very mediocre animation, some scenes were even slideshows. Even when it was just Ash versus Gladion, the animation in the entire fight was straight up mediocre. But then we got Pikachu versus Tapu Koko where the animation was phenomenal, but for me, and really everyone else, it felt mixed. Yeah, I was happy that we finally got a good animated fight scene, but was that really all you were gonna give us? That was it? You made us wait for Ash to finally win a championship while also having his final battle against Gladion include some of the most subpar animation in the series? You only decided to use your budget for a battle that wasn't even a part of the actual Pokemon League victory. It was honestly really frustrating. I mean, the reason the XYZ League was so fun to watch was the amount of intensity each battle had. Not only that, XYZ had lots of camera work done within each battle, whereas Sun and Moon didn't actually utilize that camera work till the Tapu Koko fight. Now, aside from animation, there was actually more reasons as to why Sun and Moon was poorly received, and that was for the goofiness and comedy the show had. Now, this reason always felt a little odd to me, because at the end of the day, Pokemon is a kid show, so it would make sense for it to be kid-like, but at the same time, there are kid shows that are still really, really funny, despite being a kid show. For example, Phineas and Ferb and Gravity Falls. XYZ still was goofy at times, but also maintained a serious and intense scene when needed, like when Ash and Serena had their fight about Ash's failure at the Snowbell Gym, or Lysander's dark speech about destroying the world and rebuilding it from scratch. And in Sun and Moon, you never got that. The serious moments felt honestly really corny because most of the show was just really silly. Kuzma felt so corny to watch in the anime because his whole villain thing was just, oh no, he's playing dirty in a Pokemon League. I mean, really? That's our main villain? Now you might be saying, Pokey, I thought Lucimi was the main villain in Sun and Moon. And normally you would be right, if the writers didn't change half of the freaking story. The approach to Lucimine's character in the anime was horrible. They made her into some sort of saint, and she wasn't even remotely close to how the games portrayed her. In the games, she was shown to be this horrible mother who had no care for children or any living being, whereas in the anime, the whole Ultra Beast plot was changed, and she turned out to be an amazing mom. Like, bro, are you serious? You're trying to tell me you changed what could have been one of the best villain stories in the entire Pokemon anime? The thing that angers me the most is the fact that Lucimine's actions are what shaped Lily's and Gladion's character towards the final arc of the Sun and Moon games. Her being a terrible mother in the games, but later slowly but surely recovering from her actions is what assumingly helped them strengthen their bond as a family, and that was all taken away from us in the anime in replace of this stupid garbage. So when Sun and Moon wanted to be serious, you just couldn't help but laugh, but at the same time, transitioning from what felt like two completely opposite shows also probably contributed to the negative reception of Sun and Moon. And lastly, the final reason that contributed to the bad reputation Sun and Moon received received during its grand stage was something that should have told us everything we needed to know from the beginning. The change of directors and the amount of filler. Now, first and foremost, it's important to understand that most of the XYZ directors did not work on Sun and Moon, which is probably what also led to some of the reasons we listed prior. Which honestly kind of sucks that we didn't get those awesome guys from XYZ, but not only that, we also got so much filler in the Sun and Moon anime. Not only did Sun and Moon have a ridiculous amount of filler, it almost felt like some of the canon episodes were also filler. Now, I understand that the XYZ series had some filler, but some of it was actually fun to watch. Like the Esper episode of the haunted place they encountered. That had me freaked out as a kid, by the way. Or the episode where Ash had a fever and we got Ash Serena, if you will. Man, those episodes bring back memories. But what kind of filler do we get in Sun and Moon? A katana being used as a freaking hairstylist. You're telling me the katana that we see cutting up boulders and showing us how ferocious they are is now a salonist? Or how Sophocles took 3 million years to decide on moving away? Sophocles, make up your mind. I do not care. At least with the Ash Sickness episode or the Haunted House episode, it gave us some funny moments, and not only that, but both the comedy and the spookiness made you feel like you were watching Scooby-Doo or something. It was actually really well done. But no, we get to see Mallow getting taught from some oranguru. Like, genuinely, it's so boring. Now, as unfortunate as it is that Sun and Moon turned out the way it did, I feel like I ended up enjoying Sun and Moon a lot more now than I did when I was first airing. I know, that sounds crazy. The reason being that I just started taking it for what it really was. Did I still despise the way it turned out? Yes. Do I wish it turned out even remotely similar to the games? Also yes. But honestly, watching Sun and Moon feels like watching a SpongeBob episode of me. You'll see it end up watching it, and before you know it, you sat there for nearly half an hour. My rewatch of Sun and Moon was better because I just took it for what it was, a silly, goofy kids show that I could just binge for fun. Now, I know Sun and Moon isn't for everyone, but as much as we wish it could have turned out differently, especially how dirty they did How in the anime, holy frick, don't get me started on that. We would be here for hours. We should just honestly take it as it is. Just binge it for the stupidness, not the actual story progression or climax of the series. If it even had one, that is. But just for the fun watch, and I'm sure the experience will turn out a lot better for you guys. Now, I hope you guys enjoy this video because I'll be doing a follow-up to this one on how journeys could have been done a lot better. So if you're interested in that one, I highly recommend subbing and turning on the bell so you don't forget about it. But anyways, friends, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.